So converting feet and inches, all right, this is one of those things that, maybe in science class you did factor label and that kind of stuff. But when we're dealing with these really common ones, we're just going to use the idea of, hey, there's 12 inches in a foot, okay? Which means that if I divide this into 12-inch segments, it tells me how many feet, okay? So we're kind of doing this in terms of division remainder. If we're going the other way, it's a little bit of multiplication. So writing each as feet and inches. So if I have 37 inches, I just have to break that into 12-inch increments, okay? And so I have to think about this and just say, there's a couple ways I could do this. You could look at this and go, okay, if I have the 37, that would be 12 plus 12 is 24 plus another 12 is 36. That almost gets me there. And then there'd be one more after that, right, to give me 37. And so if I look at this in terms of 12 unit increments to add up all the way to 37, I see that I have 3 of those 12, so that's 3 feet. And now there's 1 inch left over, so it's 3 feet, 1 inch. Okay? The other option here is to do some division. Okay, and if you use your calculator to do this division, it's going to give you a nasty decimal, but that's okay. We're only looking for the whole number. Watch this. Okay, so here's my calculator. If I were just to take this 37, let me scoot my calculator over here. If I do the 37 and I divide it by 12, yeah, it gives me a decimal, but just look at the first number. That's 3 feet, right? So it gives me the number of feet. I just have to find what's left over. And so I would write that down. I would say, okay, there's 3 feet, right, in these 37 inches. Well, use what you know about feet and inches. Say, okay, 3 times 12, that's the number of inches that 3 feet gives us. That's 36. And I'll look at the difference. How far off are we? Okay, so right now with the 3 feet, that represents 36 inches. I need 1 more inch in order to close this thing out. So it's 3 feet, 1 inch. And notice I used a slightly different symbol that time. All right, that apostrophe counts as a symbol for feet. Okay, so 3 feet, 1 inches. Okay, if I look at the next one, and here's why I mentioned that division. When I look at the next one, this is not practical to write out as 12 plus 12 plus 12, plus 12 until we get there. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to say, okay, let me take that 160. See how many 12s go in there, divided by 12. So again, ignore the fractions. Just look at the whole number part. That's a 13. So 13 feet is what I start with. So I'm going to say 13 feet. And now let's do the 13 times 12. So 13 times 12. So I'm just saying, hey, I have 13 feet. Let's see how many inches that is. Well, that's 156 inches. So right now, with just this 13, I have 156 inches. Well, think about that for a second. How many more inches are left over? Okay, do a little subtraction. There are 4 inches left. So it's 13 feet, 4 inches. Done and done. Okay. If I look at the next one, we've got 67 and 3/4 inches. Again, I'm going to take to my calculator here. And on my calculator, I don't even need to put in that 3/4. Don't even worry about that fraction. Because here's the thing, that fraction is going to stick with the inches no matter what. Okay, so I'm just going to take the 67 divided by 12, take that whole number part, the 5, okay? So I want 5 feet. I'll use the feet symbol this time. And so now I just have to think about, well, 5 feet, how many inches is that? And so if I multiply 5 times 12 on my calculator, that gives me a 60. All right, so that's, right now with the 5 feet, I have 60 inches. Well, I need 7 3/4 inches more, so I'm going to put 7 3 inches right down here, okay? That's it, okay? So I'm just breaking this down into the different versions of the measurement. And when we're looking at something like a tape measure, it'll have feet and inches on there, okay? But it'll also have total inches, all right? And a lot of times when you're working with a tape measure, you don't break it down into feet and inches like if you're on a job site. You just do it in terms of inches. And the reason for that is because it's simpler, okay? So you're not converting back and forth. You're just using one measurement.